have developed that aspect, and so that is very interesting. But it's not the basis. It's not the most important thing about it. And one of the most interesting things that I find, I mean, it's just for me as a Christian, and I say this here because in this setting we are talking about integral Christianity. It's so thrilling for me is, if you understand it correctly, that the Trinity is what emerges in these dialogues. And you heard it here when Ken Wilber spoke today. And it's the Trinity that emerges. And I said to Father Thomas a little while ago when we had dinner together, told him this, and I was just so surprised. I wouldn't have thought 20 years ago that the Trinity would be in and Christ would be all right. And that's what happens. And his answer was, well, the Trinity is much older than Jesus Christ. But I mean, even the Christ, you see, even the Christ, not just Jesus Christ. So this is thrilling. See? This is thrilling for me. The three faces of God, as Ken Wilber called it, that is something that keeps us, that feeds us, that feeds the Buddhists, you see, and that's what I explore with Paul Haller. That's the most thrilling thing to explore. The three kayas of Buddha. I mean, it blows your mind. But I think we still own Rowley an answer to how each of us can do it. I think that was his slant. How, not just how we have done it and how we have experienced it, but what would you suggest to anyone here? How can we promote this spiritual dialogue, the basic human spiritual dialogue?
Well, I've only had one thought about it, and I realize how difficult it is to get people who have not been exposed to interspiritual dialogue or even the study of other world religions and their contemplative dimensions. And this is just a suggestion, is to teach children, and as well as ourselves, from kindergarten on, to love each other's religion. I say that because I think that a lot of violence comes from the ideas or the attitudes of adults or parents or societies or teachers that one picks up in early childhood, especially in catechetical instructions, where I suppose each tradition is trying to communicate the rich tradition that has been passed on for centuries. And so the thought that this might be encouraging a certain triumphalist attitude in people, like my daddy is better than your daddy sort of syndrome, which is really a security issue. You want to have a protector on the street. So if you can feel that your religion is better than any other, it feeds into our security needs. I was trying to explain this afternoon, where there's nothing more reassuring than to feel that you have the right religion or on the right road and that you're going to be saved. The problem with that is that it creates an inner conviction that you have to defend your religion against other attacks or different belief systems. And the next step to that is that any threat to your religion, because of your over-identification with it, or naive over-identification with it, means that your security system is being attacked. Hence, off goes the defensive measures, and pretty soon you're writing articles and against other religions, and pretty soon you're taking up weapons, and the final step is to start dropping bombs or all the other things that are now out there. Well, just suppose that instead of that as an essential part of catechism, and to put an end to religious violence, which has been the source perhaps of most of the violence in history, at least as a significant factor. That has to be stopped at its root. And I think it's just a suggestion, I don't know how to stop it except to invite people as a part of their own religion to love everybody else's religion. And not just respect it, but to love it. And that involves a change in attitude that I acknowledge I wouldn't know how to practically realize that. Accept it in our own heart, and until you do that, I don't think you are understanding your own religion. Because this, at least in my opinion, the oneness of the human family is principle number one of all the religions.
That's very beautifully put, and I think it's very practical, and it's something that we can invite you all to do. You have parents and grandparents, and you have or teachers, and you have an influence on the schools, and you can teach your own children and grandchildren. You can insist that the school has some sort of a program where they teach the children to respect and, if possible, to love the other religions too. I think it's very concrete. If somebody wants to have a formal, because sometimes when we try to do something like that, we feel so alone and a little lost, and we need a little support. If you want some more formal support, there is this United Religions Initiative that the former Bishop of San Francisco, James Swing, has started. And it has taken off very well, not as well as it ought to, but there are centers all over the world, and the way it has been set up is very sensitive. You can easily get information about it by going, by Googling United Religions Initiative. And I really think that this is a great hope for the world, what United Religions Initiative is doing. On our website, gratefulness.org, we have a spinning globe that's one of our features, and it's called Light Up the World, and it has little dots of light, and you can go and stop it and go to wherever part of the world you are interested in what's happening, and then you put your cursor there and you click and you get a light, and you get a link, or often many links, to what's happening in that area of the world to light up the world. And it's not only religious, it's ecological and whatever, but you will find very many links to United Religions Initiative. They have these little groups, and the principle is anybody can start a group, but they have to have, I think, at least 3 different religions in it. So there can be 3 people, and each from a different tradition, and you start your own group. And then there are certain guidelines, and you can vote, and it's very nicely set up. Just very nice. Inform yourself. But that could give a certain support to anyone who says, I would like to do something for spiritual dialogue between humans of different religious traditions. Can give a little support. Yeah.